get everyone to understand about this project and how it works and things like that. So Lasanga will do that part of it. He will explain all the details of the project and what is the idea and what is the methodology and what we should be doing, everything. He will explain. We want actually our president to make the welcome address. She's not here still, but however, it's no point, we wait a long time. So we can proceed like this. Shall I ask Ruan de Silva to make some opening remark and, just explain, why we started this project and that detail first.
Thank you, Kirti. Actually, we started this project because the FCCISL, we have long felt need of having this kind of a study. So we thought we should make some alliance with some professional party who is having good experience on this. And I think we have PWC with us and Lasanga also helping us a lot. And I think during last two months we were together, and Kirti, we all together, and we came to this situation. Now we are about to launch. I think this is really a very important subject to the FCCISL, because FCCISL has huge mandate to support the membership as well as to support the economy of country, and to find doing such a study will benefit our stakeholders like the government and the donors, many other people, to get the idea about the data, about what is how the business is going on and what the really needs. So I think we are so proud to have our strategic partner PWC. I think Lasanga will explain about this project. Thank you, Kirti. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ruan.
Lasanga, you can go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I just want to explain, not really a large introduction. You yourself can do the introduction. And of course, as Ruan mentioned, that PWC came on board with us, with the Federation. Actually, when we see as a whole thing, so all of you all are partners in this project, because without you being here, we cannot move this project forward. Simply, Federation is a chamber, it's a federation of chambers. So because of that, the members belongs to you people. So your chambers will have the membership. So therefore, what we are talking today is the impact on COVID for your members. Technically, it is not that the Federation members, it is your members. So it's very important. So in this particular one, what we are trying to do is to get as much as possible data for us to make proposals, come for conclusions, and have a proper idea of the impact of COVID, as it is, you all are aware that many people are scared of the second phase. So with all that, we should be very cautious and we should be very careful. So having that in mind, we thought this is a very essential thing. That's how we started it. So Lasanga is the PWC representative for this project. He is in charge of this one. So he will explain you in detail what we are going to do with this project. Thank you. Lasanga, you can
Thank
start.
You, Kirti. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kirti. Good afternoon to everyone. So first of all, I think I'd like to thank on behalf of PWC for FCCISL sort of having the faith with PWC to go ahead with this significant undertaking. I think in my mind, I think this will probably be one of the largest studies that we carry out, sort of which covers a very broad spectrum of industries. And so I think, as Kirti very rightly mentioned, we need the support of all these, the the chambers and their to sort of encourage participation in this study, because I think the more responses we get, the more representative the findings will be, that it will carry a higher weightage when we go and talk to stakeholders. So I just want, I think in the interest of time, I think I'll take about 30 minutes of your time and maybe cover 5 key areas. So what I wanted to talk about was what's the purpose of this study and why the FCCISL and PWC actually embarked on this. And then I'll quickly give an overview of about the survey, and then specific content, what we are covering in this study. And then I think FCCISL will probably pitch in here, but we'll talk about how we are planning to launch this survey. And then also, once we finish the survey, what kind of actions and post this study, what you all can look forward to in terms of the results and outcomes from this study. So quickly to just talk about the purpose. As Ruan mentioned, I think the FCCISL has been looking at taking a greater role in sort of reviving and sort of looking at the economy of this country going forward, especially after the challenges with the COVID pandemic. So in that broader context, as we were discussing how we can sort of how FCCISL can get involved in more economic facilitation. One thing we realized was that I think that it's important to get a baseline of where the industries are, where companies are, and what they are currently going through and what they are planning to do. So this study is essentially to lay the foundation to sort of plan a whole series of future actions and initiatives. And then there's basically 5 key areas that we want to sort of look at as key objectives. So one is to look at how this study can help to accelerate businesses, or basically look at how we can introduce some business acceleration programs based on the findings from the study. The other is to sort of make sure that we have data-backed proposals and recommendations when we actually go to talk to stakeholders, policymakers, so that we can, with more authority, we can actually go and present our sort of concerns, the industry concerns, the industry challenges, and to seek possible ways to improve the business climate and the businesses. And another objective was from the findings to look at how we can actually help companies themselves, how we can support collaboration, how we can support new business opportunities between even the member companies. So where we can identify opportunity to do that kind of business linkage from this study. Another area is to look at the areas for industry capability, or to improve the industry capabilities and competitiveness. So again, looking at some of the challenges and findings, we hope to sort of be able to find some plans, sort of bring about maybe some future initiatives to address some of the industry competitiveness factors that ultimately, I think as we look at export market development, especially how we can be more competitive with the local industries. And lastly, one of the objectives that I think FCCISL is very keen on is also to approach various international donor agencies and international partners, or even local partners, to look at potential financial or technical assistance programs. So to that, I think it can be at a national level, or it can be at an industry level, where we can, based on the findings, sort of make suitable proposals and submissions to sort of get support to address certain specific areas. So those are the main objectives on actually doing this, starting this study. And when I talk about the content of this study, actually most of the questions are specifically to sort of make sure that we get the right output and the feedback from the respondents to sort of help in these proposals and these submissions. So just to very quickly tell about the study, as you would have already realized probably from the flyer that was circulated, so this is going to be an entirely web-based study, and it will be available in all 3 languages. So when you actually enter the survey through the link, you can actually start by selecting the language and complete it in any language you're comfortable with. And the survey will be open to all registered businesses. So it's not limited to like any companies who are members of any professional, any of these chambers or any professional organization. I think we want to get as many companies to participate, because the more they are, the more representative it will be. So it's open to all registered businesses of any scale. So whether it's micro, small, or large, whether it's a recent startup or very mature company, I think it's open to everybody. And some of the questions again we ask will help us to identify which industries and how mature these companies are, because again, when it comes to recommendations, we will be able to look at specific issues faced by those different segments of companies. Then the other aspect about the study is that this is not a this is actually more a qualitative study. So as much as we want more companies to participate, it is not a statistical study, not to come up with any statistical or numerical sort of estimation of the impact on COVID or so any sort of quantification like that. But it's purely qualitative. So that's why I think a lot of the responses, when you sort of, I think if you all had time to go through the survey, they are very sort of more qualitative, detailed questions and answers, and there's a lot of in this section there are areas to sort of give separate responses in case some of the prompted responses don't address specific concerns of companies. And lastly, about the study, again, the way the questionnaire is designed and the study is designed is that we hope to be able to report findings at a very national macro level, but also be able to present the findings and make suitable submissions by industry, by each industry, or it could be even by particular like geographic regions. So in this study, we are looking at it at a provincial level. So we can, to the extent there are like regional issues or regional observations we find from this, we can give findings that are specific to certain parts of the country, or we can also do it by the scale of the companies, whether it's for the small companies or SMEs, so forth, or whether it's just something that's more common amongst them, like the startup companies. So the survey is designed to sort of enable all that kind of flexibility when it comes to the analysis. Just to run through the content, so basically the study will have 5 sections, which should take about 30 minutes. There's about 35 key questions, and then a few questions at the end to find out a bit about the respondents. So it should take about 30 minutes. I think we've done a few pilot runs, and on average it takes about 30 minutes to complete the study. And the contents are basically in four main areas. So the first area of the study is to find out about the business. So it's primarily, it will cover, it will ask about what industry the respondent is. So whether it's what primary industry, and then also if there are companies that are engaged in multiple industries, we will like to find out about that. And then also we want to find out about, are you a manufacturer or producer of finished goods or intermediary goods, or are you a service supplier? And then we also want to find out about your operating coverage, so your sales coverage, whether your sales and your operations are more limited to a smaller geographic area within the country, or is it a national like sales operation you have, or do you have export business, or a combination of that? And then we also want to understand about the your supplies, your raw material, your input that goes into your business. Are you sourcing it locally within sort of the proximity, within close by to your places of work, or whether it's imported and or imported through distributors, or whether you're directly sourcing it through foreign suppliers. So that kind of background will help us sort of understand and put some context into some of the findings that will get reported later on. And then the second section of the report is about the company. So basically it has about 12 questions, but actually it should take about 5-6 minutes to answer with the very brief questions. Some of them are very straightforward. And here we just want to understand about where the business is located, and where it's physically located, and what is the extent of its operations in terms of like conduct sales or has its business presence. We want to find out about how long the company has been in operation. So as I said before, whether you are a recent startup or whether you are very mature in your life cycle. And then there are questions about the ownership of the business. And then we want we are not asking for specific details here, but we want to get some idea about the level of the business turnover, your what within what range your revenues are, and then what percentage of it is export sales. And then also to understand about the size of your workforce, so how many people do you employ, and then what is the split of that in terms of the female workforce, and also the age distribution. The reason we're asking for some of this information, like how many female workers employees you have, or what's the age distribution, is actually when it comes to I'm sure many of you are already aware and have been exposed to it, but when you sort of look at some of these, especially when you can make certain proposals to donor agencies and development agencies, they have particular interest into promoting businesses, either female-led businesses, or to encourage women participation, or to encourage youth employment. So to address, to kind of identify those kind of facts when it comes to our companies, and where again we can approach some of those donors for wherever there's support required, that kind of information will be very useful. Then sort of the two larger sections, I think, that where we're really looking at getting to the meat of the study is, we had the first section which covers what has been the impact to your business from the current COVID pandemic, and also to look at how have you responded to date. So here we actually want to start by looking at what were companies thinking before the impact of COVID. So maybe at the beginning of the year or at the end of last year, what were the company's plans and ambitions for the next in the medium term, and then to look at how have those plans gotten impacted because of COVID, and then to look at to date how have the companies responded, or have they just been proactive and done things, or have they just kind of managed just to sort of get through the day kind of thing. So we want to understand how companies have responded, and sort of conclude that section by understanding how confident the companies are in the actions and sort of they have already taken in terms of looking at the survival over the next short to medium term, and actually recovery of their respective businesses. Then the final sort of main section is that we are looking at what are the companies or what are the respondents thinking in terms of the future outlook, and what do the respondents want in terms of support, or what are the recommendations they would like to make to sort of address specific company issues or broader industry and market sort of challenges. And here actually we want to focus on, obviously there are challenges that the COVID pandemic has brought on as well, and obvious, and those are probably more some of the short-term challenges that need to be addressed just to get through this phase. But we're also looking at, and we're also trying to get information on some of the challenges that industries have had even before COVID. So that, I mean, I think a lot of industries have, if you take the last couple of years, I mean, in terms of growth, there have been challenges, or even longer, in terms of some of the legal environment, in terms of some of the taxation issues and various other sort of issues that impact competitiveness. So we want to understand and get some input on some of those broader areas, and what are some of the suggestions or recommendations to address some of those as well. And that's the main sort of the objective of this the last section of the study. So here we are also looking at possibility of like companies' assessment of what are there any excess assets or underutilized resources that companies think maybe either in the short term or in the long term, because again, this is where we probably look at opportunities for collaboration, or where we can help in business linkages, where certain companies, if they have unutilized land or plant capacity, and there are others who actually want are in short of such requirements, the study will perhaps help identify, put businesses together where they can collaborate and maybe look at new business opportunities. So we want to, so there's that kind of questions in that last section. And we also want to see whether companies have actually seen any new opportunities during this whole period. So I mean, there are companies who have seen the opportunity to develop new products, get into new areas of business, utilizing existing resources. So we want to sort of see how many companies have actually seen an upside from this. Upside or new opportunities and growth in some of the areas of their businesses. And then finally, we want to understand, okay, we initially had the plans and goals that we had at the beginning of the year or last year, but how have they changed, and what are your priorities now? What are your new goals for the short to medium term? And then to help in those plans and those ambitions, what is the kind of support that the companies need, whether it's from whether it's government support, whether it's other financial support from financial institutions, or capacity building, or any other sort of market linkage, business development sort of support. What is the support that companies need to help them achieve their ambitions at present? And then finally, what are some of the recommendations to sort of address the sort of challenges and the opportunities that companies see in the short to medium term? What can government, private sector, and sort of various stakeholders sort of do to sort of address some of the market challenges or policy level challenges? So those are all that input we'll be looking at in the final section of the study. So it's basically about 8 questions, but it has a lot of detail, which I think if companies spend time and actually give very productive information, I think that will be very useful for all the future plan work that we all have planned to sort of implement. And lastly, there is the section which just basically asks information about the respondents, about the company, and if companies do want to share their contact details, they have the option to do that as well. And the benefit of that is that any future events, any programs that we plan as a result, consequence of this study, we would be able to invite those participants, and specifically if we identify companies who had specific issues, where we can invite participants if those contact details are shared with in the study. But the companies do have the option to leave that out if they prefer as well. So that's broadly, the study, I mean, I didn't want to take too much time to go through all the questions, but I think if in the Q&A, if there are any specific things, we can actually address that. And then the last two areas, I just want to sort of discuss this. So what are we going to do next? So as Kirti and Ruan both explained, so this, I think the purpose of this session is to sort of explain and sort of create a bit more awareness about why we are doing this study, and also to, I think, request your support to make this study a success. But I think what we want to do going forward is that I think taking on any feedback that comes today. I think almost 99% the survey is finalized, but if there are if anyone has looked at it, and if there are any main key concerns or things that they would like to see in the study, I think we have some time to try to incorporate any changes. So I think we want to get that input from you all today, and then from that we want to then finalize the study, so that perhaps this will be communicated more properly by FCCISL, but maybe late over the weekend or maybe by Monday. I think we are hoping we can actually launch the survey. And so yeah, in terms of launching, I think we would probably, I think the plan is that, and again, I think Sudarshan or Ajit probably can add to this, but I think the Federation will probably communicate it to all of you all through emails with the link to the survey, and with the hope, expectation that you will then share it with your own members and encourage them to participate. At the same time, we will also have the link to the survey on the FCCISL website. And if the other chamber, other organizations also wish, we can also have that link available on any of the other websites as well. And then parallelly, we will also have social media and all that through LinkedIn and Facebook to sort of promote and create awareness about the study. But ultimately, direct anyone who wants to take part in the study to one of those sites to access the survey. And perhaps maybe again by Monday, we would also have some news articles sort of announce the launch of the survey, so that to get more more wider exposure and awareness about the study, so that to encourage even companies who may not be members of any organization who still wish to participate. I think in terms of the support, like I said, it's key that we have as many companies participating in this study. So for that, what we will do is on a frequent basis, we will share with the FCCISL, and I think they can share with any other chambers or bodies as required. We'll share some statistics on the number of responses we receive by industry, and also I think we can probably do it by region, so that the different bodies can then try to push amongst their members in those regions or in those associations, so that in the end of the day we want to sort of maximize the response rate. And then so the idea is that hopefully we want to have the study running for about 2 weeks and finish it before the elections, so that we have time to analyze and have sort of the proposals ready and a sort of a report ready, shortly after, when the elections are done, and maybe when the new government is in place. We have documents and certain proposals and recommendations, sort of, go and talk to the relevant, stakeholders at that time. So the timing is broadly around that, but I think we would probably have some flexibility depending on the responses, but we don't want to, have it going on for too long, because as Ruan said, we've already been looking at this for a couple of months, and I think some of the things that need to be done sooner rather than later to help the companies and the industries. So we want to finish the report and the findings out as soon as possible. So after the study, some of the things to look forward. Again, these are the FCCISL plans, not PWC plans or my plans. But I think the objective is that we want to use this as a springboard or a baseline to sort of plan a series of events. It may be with various other stakeholders also who join hands in these initiatives, but to have series of discussions with public-private sector stakeholders to sort of address some of these issues, but also have a series of events and programs planned to address some of the market access, some of the capacity building, maybe even some of the technical areas that industries need support in. To plan those series of events, I think the findings from this can be used to sort of prepare those action plans by which we will help also. But I think for FCCISL and any other chamber also that wants to prepare certain plans, I think this findings will be very useful. I'm hoping it will be very useful for everybody. So that's broadly, I think, what I wanted to touch on. And I think maybe we can look at any question, Q&A, or any other comments from anybody else also at this stage on the study.
Thank you, Lasanga. If there is anybody wants to have any clarification or anything up to now, kindly you can use the raise hand option, so then I can give the opportunity to speak. I saw Mr. Jaufer. He was raising hand before. Jaufer, you can unmute yourself. If you have anything, you can speak now.
Yeah, nice to.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Jaufer.
Tourism sector, especially after this COVID-19, and heavily affected in island-wide, and it has to be rebuilt in a professional manner, and also to have a collaboration with the other country which is not affected heavily by the COVID-19 to promote immediately connectivity with the other countries. So, and especially until the tourism boom, foreign international tourists come to Sri Lanka, so there should be a plan where the domestic tourism activities can be started in island-wide with the security measures, with the health equipments provided to all the hoteliers. Most of the hotel, if you see, doesn't have most of the safety equipments and that sort of measures, even though they are running low budget prices in Ireland now. So, but we wanted to rebuild tourism in the country. I think government has taken many initiatives to improve tourism in the country. His Excellency President has taken many initiatives. And we must thank the government initiative to control the COVID-19 in the country, because when you compare to other countries, Sri Lanka is much better. Compared to even India, Sri Lanka is much better for the future tourism. And but we also need some of the real support for these industry people, whatever the government saying that regarding the low interest loan can be given to the tourism industry. So far, it has not been done for the thing. So that has to be expired with the talking to
Mr.
the.
Jaufer,
Yeah.
you know, your matter is related to this particular industry. First, we would like to, since we have to conclude part by part, with regard to Lasanga, what he explained, if you have any doubts or any issues or any clarifications, if you require, if you raise that first. Under any other business, the last part, we will take it up your matter. We understand actually, as FCCISL, we've been with you for this cause. Of course, we are also very sad, you know, that the support for this industry is not enough. We actually know that. But since the topic today is this, particularly about this survey, we want to make sure everyone who participate here get the right knowledge for them to educate their members. They have enough knowledge they gather out of this meeting.
Yeah, this program is actually, I am welcoming this program to have these more ideas and with the, to make these things.
Yeah.
I think, as you said, after the election only that it can implement this.
But Jaffa, what we are trying to do is we want to launch this one very fast, probably next week. Then after that, we want people like you. So if the your industry heavily affected, so you get all your members to take part in this survey. So then we will have a proper idea and the issues related to the tourism industry if there are more people involved in this survey.
Yeah, and I think on this survey, we must also invite the UDA, Urban Development Authority, and they also has done some survey and they have done community stockholders meeting and they also has done. So I think on this survey, we must also invite the Urban Development Authority also to include this survey. That is easy for us to implement the programs. Actually,
Jaffa, what we are trying to do here is we invite all businesses. So that means, you know, even small, big, large, micro SME, anyone, we are welcome for this survey. So the idea is for them to share their issues.
Definitely, I will
not organizations.
Okay, we will give you the full support to do that. And from us. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Do you, if anyone has, you know, we can. You know, this time we can use it to clarify that.
I think it will be useful, KST, to make sure. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are there any questions?
Mr. Vibhu Pera, you know, okay, so you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yeah, no, having listened to Lasanga, it's a broad aspect where you're, you know, trying to gather information from different industries, which I understand, right? Now, how do I come in and say the issues that our industry, ornamental fish industry, is having presently? Should I address it now, or is there an opportunity for me to address it later on in the in your particular study?
Actually, Lasang, you can speak.
Yeah. So so I think you can. So there are certain prompted responses in the study which may not, like which will touch on broader issues, but there is space in the study to sort of again add any specific issues. So I think whatever issues you have, I think the more we know, the better it is for us to, you know, look at what can be done. So while the prompted responses may not cover all your concerns, there is space for you to add additional comment, and please use that to sort of put as much information as you can in the study.
Okay, thanks. Should I start off, or I really don't understand exactly how I should start off and tell you all the issues. The present.
Oh, sorry. You mean you want to talk about it now, or I don't know, Kirti?
Anytime.
No, Mr. Vibhu, we will be sending you the our questionnaire. The chamber, Sudarshana, Ajit, you know, they will mail it to you, and it's a web-based one. You know, you can you know, just go and send the information also online, where the PWC will receive, and you know, they can start the process. So that's the process. Actually, you can start anytime. Even the small the advertisement which we have created for this event also. When you click the link there, so you will go to that questionnaire. So you can fill up at any time, even now. I think probably you can do it. No issue anytime. And what is important here is as from the chamber point of view, so you encourage your other members also to give more information, so then we will have more data and more precise information on different sectors, as Lasanga very rightly mentioned, the company detail, regional detail, industry detail, all kinds of things. If there is more participation, we will have more data that will be worthwhile.
So I suppose I will send you an email, a comprehensive email with the present issues that we have in the industry and the previous ones that we have had.
Okay.
Right? That would be much better rather than taking this opportunity in informing you on this Zoom, right? Is that
yes? Yes, correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you, Kirti.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vibhu.
Thank you.
Rohita, go ahead. Do you have anything to add here?
Yeah, what I want to tell all participants, please fill the document, and there is relevant areas where you may have certain issues. Please fill that in to that instead of sending different individual emails, so that we have a format to understand and follow. So if everybody can follow that, and say example fishing industry or ornamental fish industry, if there is 100 members and if you circulate 100, if 50 reply, we would like to have all 50, so that it's easy for us to do a study and put things specialized into specialized areas as well. So that's how we would like to have the document to Federation.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Ajit, do you want to comment at this stage? Anything? Ajit or Sudarshana, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah, good afternoon to all. Having listened to Lasanga's explanation about four sectors.
You're not clear, Ajit.
Now, is it clear? Okay.
Speak a little louder.
Okay, Lasanga, I think there are certain chambers providing services like tourism. Then I can see Nayana Karunaratne is there. She's the founder, chairperson, and still continuing as the president of Sri Lanka Hairdressers and Beauticians Association. I think our questionnaire should cover up these services also. I think I have a little doubt that whether it is focusing on the products by nature. So I think Nayana, you can when you look at this questionnaire, I think if we can draft copy and whether she can further improve it to suit the industries as well. Request. Nayana can say something.
Ajit, if I can just respond to that, it covers service sector as well. It's not only manufacturing sector. Actually, like hairdressing and other personal care is also one of the options to, just to take your example, one of the areas that you can select within the service sector category. So it will apply to service and industrial sectors.
Yes, anybody else? Tusita, you can speak. Yes, Tusita, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Little faint, you can speak little louder.
Yeah, thanks Kirti giving me the opportunity, and I would like to thank the FCCISL for the initiative, and mainly Ruan De Silva. I think this is a very important area that the data collection of surveys is very important thing right now for the country, and so I should thank the FCCISL PWC for this initiative. And I just want to touch on this, especially the large and medium companies. I'm sure you'll be able to gather this data, but the micro level, I wonder, because since this is going to be a web-based survey, and how they are going to access to this kind of information and how they are going to share this information with us, with FCCISL or PWC. So I'm not sure. Just Lasang, I want to clarify, is this going to be a national survey or you're going to confine that to a certain sector or certain area?
No, it's a entirely national survey open to, like I said, any company, but we are focusing on the registered businesses. But if there's unregistered business also, they can participate and report it accordingly. But it's available across any industry, any scale. That's why I said that. So we will put this, we'll advertise this through the media and sort of the print and electronic media websites, so that people, unfortunately, like you said, access will have to be through it's online survey, so it's not a door-to-door, or that people will not be on the ground going and talking to respondents. But I think nowadays, even with smartphones or even at micro level, people are used to sort of web-based surveys. So I'm hoping we can still get decent response from even the micro segment who are sort of more savvy to using the mobile phone and even doing some mobile surveys.
Right, yeah, fine. Since thanks for the clarification. Yeah, since it's a national survey, I don't think your timelines, like 2 weeks, whether you can reach your target market and whether you can get all this information within 2 weeks. I'm sure you might have to extend the timelines. And I could have kind of discussed further on this if I know exactly your question, if you know, because some of the information, some of the companies or any organizations will not want to divulge. So we got to be very extremely careful. The information you mentioned, of course, some of the sensitive areas we will not be touching upon, but still, so we need to understand the accuracy of the information that you'll be receiving. Because when you're presenting, we are presenting to the government or for any loan agency, because our information has to be very accurate, right? So in order to do that, we need to be extremely careful or mindful. The information we have received is accurate. So these are the areas that we got to be very mindful and we need to address very, very carefully.
Quite correct, Tusit. And so I think just to sort of in some other areas, I think we will try to validate in the sense some of the findings and sort of the feedback. We will try to cross-check it with various other, in terms of the industry classification, for example, we are using the standard classification that's used by Central Bank or the Department of Census, for example. So certain data and report, data that's available from some of those places, we will try to use that to sort of cross-check some of the findings that we get here. But in terms of qualitative input that people put into the survey, I think it's something that we need to do through the awareness thing, because it's garbage in, garbage out kind of thing. So if people don't put genuine, I don't think that, the survey questionnaire is there as Kirti mentioned in that flyer. So there aren't questions that are, I don't think that's going to be very sensitive to companies. It's very, generally business issues, challenges, and we're not asking for even revenue numbers, employees, we're asking ranges, not absolute numbers. So just to get an idea whether it's a small or a large company, for example. So I think it's something that we will need to sort of do through our the awareness sessions to sort of make sure, honest information will get proper responses and actions. Otherwise, it's going to be garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, fine. Thanks, Lasanga. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Tusita, I also think, I also agree with Lasanga, these are the, when you see the questionnaire, you will understand most of the items they are, just we are trying to pick up what industry, what kind of turnover, what is the number of workers. That doesn't mean, you don't have to say 52 or something like that. So we will have 50 to 60 or 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So like that, the ranges. So you will select that, that of course there is no risk of that we collect very sensitive information of your business is not there. So we are trying to collect general business, but the impact of this one and how the effect right now is only more important to us for this study, I think, because those data can be used for us to do proposals, come up with projects, and going to present ourselves for any meetings. This common for FCCISL as well as for all the other chambers also. Even as a chamber, if you don't know the data of your members or the certain industry segment data, you can't go and present yourself. So the whole idea here is to collect that data to the maximum extent which is possible through the chamber network. That's what we are trying. I think, if you all support, if all of you support, I think we can get a larger number to participate in this one. And one other thing is, I think the most easiest way to collect data is on a web-based thing. So which you don't have to do photocopy or anything, you can just fill there itself and submit the questionnaire back. So which will be, I think, quite easy in today's terms. Any other, Sudarshana, do you have any kind of comments or anything that you want to share here?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to inform you all that I'll be coordinating from FCCISL side about this survey between the between our members, and can appoint one contact person from your association or chamber. What is us to do this asd@fccisl.lk. If you can send who would be the person from your chamber or from association who will be coordinating with your members to get this survey done, that would be great. And also I want to encourage every one of you, encourage your members at least to get 80% of your members attending this survey and give us the results. So then it would be statistically significant for us to, present our case to the donors and then look for some funding opportunities. So, and also if while they are doing, your members conducting the survey, if there are any problem that they encounter, please email me or call me so that I can support you to sort out that problem and help you all to get through this survey. So that's all from my
yeah. Nayana Karunaratna, she was there. She is posing a question on the chat. Nayana, do you like to speak, Nayana?
Yes.
Yes.
My opinion is that COVID is going to stay for a long, long time, and the businesses are going up and down because the mindset of the people are very much with the fear. I don't know the political impact of it because of the elections, but that is a very temporary situation which is only for 2 more weeks. So we had to get back to normal after that. So I think the lifestyle has to change, and people have to rethink. I'm not saying to readjust your businesses. I think the businesses have to carry on as it is, and it has to bounce back. I don't know whether these, there are 2 things that I see. One is that the chambers can promote through your network to everyone that because COVID-19 is going to stay, we have to get the health and safety activities streamlined, and we have to continue because there is no way that it's going to go. So we can only curtail as a nation. And the second thing is, under these circumstances, to give them the courage to build up, because I don't know in general whether it's a passive society or not, I don't know. When you talk to 10 people today, 9 people are depressed, thinking there's going to be a lockdown. only thinking there's going to be a lockdown. The fear, I can't even afford to think because I have to think of the salaries on the 30th. So we have to change that mindset, because you as the FCCISL controls almost all the chambers, and if you can get your message passed across and pass that strength and power to the people, I think at least the private sector will take it forward, because people have to stop getting scared of the COVID. It's going to be here. This is what my sincere feeling, to make sure that you have to get going with your thing. Otherwise, what's going to happen?
Sure. Yeah, we agree with you, Naina. Actually, we also took this initiative in a positive note and a positive thinking towards our members, because the thing is, everyone depressed, and if they think, we will not have a future, we will have a lot of problems, that kind of mindset will not take you anywhere. So that will go from bad to worse. So now the whole idea here is to study the impact and see what opportunities are there. But Lasanga also mentioned in his explanation that, we ask questions like, how much capacity utilized, what kind of resources they have in their business and things like that. So sometimes we will have opportunity there. If there are unused resources, how to use them and things like that, put things together with that kind of information. That's the whole idea.
It's a very hard situation. I think this is harder than the wartime, because people are pretty lost. Where the war was concerned, we actually had to worry about one thing, but here everybody is very demotivated. I think that is a huge drawback to the business world. Yeah. I don't know how to, but I think people have to be pumped up with courage and new way of thinking. I don't think the FCCI itself can solve everybody's problems, but everyone should be made to think new and different, because anyway, I think the business lifestyle is also going to change to a certain percentage. Lots of things are going to change. So we have to encourage them to find their own way. Now, if you take my industry, the health and safety standards have been a blessing for us. I'm really very happy, because 85% of the health and safety standards were to be there. They should have been there, but nobody practiced. So to make them understand that they should work in this new environment. So I think thinking capacity, if you can improve, everyone will hopefully get back a little more courage.
Correct. Understand. Okay. Thank you, Naina. We have Dr. Krishinta Visinthage. You can speak, sir.
Good afternoon. I think it's very important that you have taken this step to take this data and analyze and present it in some way. But there were some other studies. One is done by as I know, one is done by the Ministry of Trade and Commerce and Industry and SME. So if we can tell the participants or potential participants who are going to be the respondents of this study, how this information, data converted into information, and how these information findings will be used in the future, as well as how will their sectors or businesses be benefited from this, because that will be a convey, because they have to spend some time, go online, they fill the questionnaire, and end of the day there has to be a win-win situation, plus for both sides. So how will especially Lasanga, if you can explain that how this will be used in the future?
Lasanga, can you reply to this question?
Sorry, Kirti, can you? My volume just went off for a bit. Can you just repeat the question?
Now we can hear you quite well.
No, I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear anything earlier. Can you just repeat the question?
Krishant, can you ask that question? Like, I mean, what he is asking is, there are similar surveys done by Minister of Industries and Minister of Commerce and all that. What he says is, like anyone who's going to fill this kind of questionnaire taking time, what kind of benefits that, we are going to ensure to them?
Sure. So, I mean, you're correct in that, yes, I think even last week there was a new study, survey that was commissioned. But I think one key difference that I feel that this study is going to be is that most of the other studies have been looking at quantifying the impact, and I think even the very recent one was looking at asking a lot of actual sensitive data that I think there was earlier concern about, but also looking at the historically and currently what has happened. But we are looking at what companies want to do and what are the things you want to change going forward. So it's really a forward-looking study that we are actually hoping to do, rather than just to sort of take stock of what has happened. So that's one key difference with most of the other studies that have happened to date. But yeah, in terms of what are the benefits for the members and those who participate, as I said, the idea is that this will be the starting block to sort of plan a whole lot of other events and programs. It might be FCCISL, it might be other parties, other stakeholders who will initiate it or collaborate. But so the study will help to identify future maybe capacity building programs or market access, like export market development, or even some of those proposals we talked about and around getting financial or technical support for. That will be at probably more like at the industry level rather than specifically to a company. But for all these programs, I think one thing is that when we plan some of these events, training, whether it's capacity building or business linkage programs, I think we'd like to give the priority to the people who have participated and sort of contributed to this, sort of attend and be invited to those events specifically. And then also I think they'll be part of the sort of any future knowledge sharing, future sort of programs that we sort of plan to have. They would, I think, be given preference and priority when we plan those events. Keith, I think you might be able to want to add more also.
I think, Krishant, you're okay with that answer. I believe, that's the right answer. As Lasanga said, the people who's filling this application, what we are looking at is if they have a problem issue that we are going to address with somebody and, try to get a solution for them. So that's the whole idea. So it's a mutually beneficial thing, by spending a time for filling an application can bring some benefit to them if there are things that we can identify. Now I have one, Mr. Rajesh Khanna, he also has a question. Rajesh, you can raise your question.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, audio is okay. Your video is not working, but still fine. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm from microfinance industry. Actually, we have been supporting over 80,000 clients. And there are business, we have micro level and small level, small businesses in the villages. A lot of business are registered with district level and provincial level. So actually I have gone through with the questionnaire yesterday and I have put some answers. I have completed the study yesterday from that this thing. And what my question is, like, there are business from rural places, they don't have this access to the internet. So from microfinance industry, if you see, we are touching the people and we are supporting them in the access to finance and the knowledge and the business as well. So how can we contribute to this survey? Is that any way can we directly link the clients? It's not going to happen because these clients are from rural places.
Yeah.
So any possibilities for to include those type of people?
Actually, Rajesh, do you have any solution also for this with you? Because you must be having a lot of experience working with them.
Yeah, so the suggestion what we can bring is so we have different industries.
Okay.
So if a few of our officers can get the information from them, the different industries, and if they can fill this on behalf of those clients, that is the kind of suggestion that we can give. We are interested on this survey.
Oh, can't you get these people to support to fill the application, give some kind of support with if they don't have the mobile phone which is internet accessible, give a support like this, or get your people to come to your office and use one of your computers or laptops or send this information or something like that. Then it becomes the first-hand information, no?
Okay. We'll think on that.
Lasanga, do you have any idea? I just, what came to my mind, I mentioned. Do you have any different opinion?
No, I think I agree with you, Kirti. I think if they directly give sometimes, I mean that sometimes there is a difference. Sometimes we see in responses when somebody asks for it and when somebody directly gives it on their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if there can be support to help them understand and sort of fill in the form, that would probably be the better option. Yeah. But I think failing that, if you can still, end of the day, we want to have representative input. So if there is if that is going to be a bottleneck to getting responses, I think obviously we look at how you can maybe collate some of that and still give that input in a useful way.
Correct. Yeah, Rajesh, anyway, thanks a lot. And, it's a great contribution. Like, I mean, finally, so sometimes the micro and SMEs, it's a very interesting part in Sri Lanka. So if they lose their business, meaning we will have more of large problems in the future. So therefore, if you support them, that will be very good, for us also to address their issues. We need the statistics and the data.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank
you, Rajesh.
Okay.
Anybody else like to speak? If there is nobody, then shall we ask Shirley to just Chaturi, do you have anything to speak? Because you represent the Women's Chamber, very integral part of the.
I think we all have taken a very good step to do a survey. It is a very utmost importance to have a database. In fact, we too have just now joined with PWC to do a survey on the women entrepreneurs. I mean, this right, we started today.
Oh, so, right,
very coincidental, and I fully agree and endorse, and our support will be there with you to encourage our members who have companies to join your
Chaturi, actually, since you're our member, you don't have to do a fresh one. If you encourage all your members to come on board and, fill the applications, you also can get this data. Because originally when we have the agreement, so we the original agreement.
We are for individuals also. That's why we have now ours is a women's chamber. No?
So individual also it's a business, no, Chaturi?
Okay, similar thing, no? So I will do a different, ours is handled by a different section of PWC.
Yeah.
So maybe I will tell them to see how best we can merge and do this, no?
Sure, no problem. But anyway, as you know, since you do the woman entrepreneur awards, all that, you know, you also have large number of women, you know, who's very active. So their problems has to, you know, you can motivate them to come in and fill this information and send. So which you can get a feedback from us. So what kind of data we have picked up from them. And you know the findings we can share with you simply.
Yeah, because there is not even the Ministry of Industries, they don't even have a database.
Yes,
so
true.
As for so that's why we also envisaged into this, and we do signed our contract with PWC, and I think we are also launching today.
Yeah, I don't want to upset anything with that arrangement, but encourage people to come on board for this one as well as the other one, no problem.
Because it's a free thing now, so they should be able to just spare a few moments to fill up the application, no? It's online survey.
Yeah. Thank you, Chaturi. We have Dr. Rohan Karunaratna. I think, you know, shall we get Rohan? Are you there? Hello.
Yes, Kirti, I am there.
Yes, Rohan. Do you have anything to share or anything?
Regarding the women entrepreneurs, I can tell you two good news. Number one, my bank and my finance company both, we finance microfinancing. We are 80% success on the women entrepreneurs.
Okay.
You know, they are superb. They are paying the installments. We manage them properly, and they are doing a fantastic job with them.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, in construction industry, we started training women entrepreneurs for painting and plumbing jobs.
Yeah.
We were really successful in painting jobs. They were very, very poor ladies. We trained them to do painting.
Yeah.
They were really happy. They said they were depending on their husbands, but the husbands are, you know, they're not contributing to their home expenditure and all. These ladies were getting about 1,500, 2,000 rupees a day. They did a fantastic job by doing their painting job, and they got about 50 to 60,000 rupees a month. So they were so happy.
Yeah.
So I would like to continue this program even with you all. We started this under actually with Professor Chitravedikar and the institute.
Yeah.
We can continue this project. They are really happy about this.
Chaturi, I think you have a lot of opportunity with Dr. Karunaratna. And for us also, of course, you know, he's very much connected to us. So we work with him always when it comes to the construction industry. Even Ruan is a big construction man who's the initiator of this project.
Actually, I know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also like to say something about Karunaratna, because it's very interesting to hear that women are turning into non-conventional jobs, trying to think out of the box. So that is something that we should encourage. I think we will also take that up and that no more than you are different, have to guide them and train them. Thank you very much. That's really interesting. May I make a comment, please?
Yes, please.
Yes, as usual, as a woman, I'm also highly appreciative of what the women are doing. But then, what's going to happen to our men? Why don't the chambers do something to motivate the men and get them back to work? Why are you getting the women? Already 80% of the women force are running this economy. Why don't the chambers get the men to do the plumbing? Why don't you train them on having a discipline in their work and also saving their money and learn to drink properly? Learn to enjoy their liquor properly, because this is why should more people now? Already we are in the garment industry, we are in the agriculture industry. Now you want us to do the construction industry also. I think the men should come. Otherwise, they should do dressmaking and hairdressing, I think, the men.
Nayana, it's not fair for you to say this. You know, we are giving equal opportunity.
Yeah,
so we are creating opportunity. We are not obstructing anyone. If a woman can do man's job, let her do it. You know, no issue.
I agree. We are also entrepreneurs, but no, on a serious note, I think the majority of the men in the skilled laborers in this country needs to be better streamlined. They are what they are today only because they have not been given that exposure and education. I promise you our economy will do much better. We don't have to import labor if we can get that going. Of course, it's out of the context on this subject, but I think this gentleman said about the women entrepreneurs doing their work properly. This is the inherent ability of the woman to manage things, but I think we really have a serious problem in this country with the labor force, especially in the labor force, which I think the FCCISL can handle definitely in another forum maybe.
Yes. Actually, I think, you know, I also realize sometimes even on Zoom, if we can get a better segment, you know, that, you know, you have to do a certain amount of canvassing to get people to sit even 1 hour, 1.5 hours for a discussion. But sometimes these discussions can take them long way. Their thinking pattern can be changed. That kind of mindset change can be done even with this kind of a setup, you know. But only thing is, you know, now these are the things, you know, even in the midst of COVID, you know, we also has to learn new ways of motivating people, new ways of educating people, all that. I think, you know, this is good for Ajit and Sudarshana and, you know, everyone, for you all to think, you know, in your future programs. So we had to take all this into mind, and we had to do it. I think, you know, we are close to our time right now. Ajit, do you like to make a last comment or some few closing remarks? Then after that, I will ask Shirley to make water thanks and finish off the program.
I think let Shirley to do it. I think let her do it. I think
you have anything to comment here? Nothing.
I think on our part, ASG Sudarshana will be in charge, and she will be the focal point for all the chambers and other individuals. So I want to make a request that, you know, please liaise with her, and she's available on the phone. Please, I think Sudarshana, you can circulate all the contact details. I want all the chambers to support. I must thank Rohan and the Nayana and others. I think this morning only I managed to speak to them to come on board. So thank you so much, and also to others having taken part in this very important discussion. So thank you all of you, and over to you, Shirley.
Before I give the opportunity for Shirley, Ruan, do you have anything to say? You can unmute yourself, Ruan.
Yeah, Shirley. Shirley can
make the closing remarks.
It's okay.
Yes,
Everything has been discussing here. Okay.
Yeah. Shirley, you can make the closing remarks, and we can finish off our session.
My reception is not very good. My reception is not very good. I don't know whether you could hear.
No, not very good.
Can
not quite. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First, let me thank. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Let me thank PWC. Mr. Lasanga Abesuri for coming up with this invitation to join up with you all. I mean, FCCISL to the program And I thank our director one, Gisilva, for taking so much of trouble to make this happen. So this webinar, I thank Kirti and also everybody who has joined this and contributed. We came off a good year, and I also request all our would make this a success.
I think her internet connection, some data issue, and her voice cannot be heard. Anyway, so let me also thank everyone on behalf of the Federation of Chambers for taking part in this session. And we expect you to give your fuller support to get more of your members to fill this application and send and make a success. And thank you to Ajit and Sudarshana for being the coordinators of this event and contacting all the our station and national and our station regional chambers. So keep the spirit going all the time, and get everyone to motivate, send more and more application to make our study a fruitful and useful one for every one of us. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks.